Good evening, Northern Colorado. This is Whiskey Zero, Delta Delta Zulu. My name is Dave, and I'll be net control for this evening's Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Net. The purpose of this net is to provide a forum for announcements of amateur radio-related events, a meeting time on air to encourage social interaction between club members, and to provide a point of contact for club executive board members. This net may be interrupted at any time for emergencies or priority traffic. If you wish to use the system for an emergency during the net, please say break and give your call sign. We will acknowledge you and suspend the net until you advise you are clear. Is there any emergency or priority traffic before we begin? All licensed amateur radio operators with 70 centimeter privileges are encouraged to check into this net. Club membership is encouraged but not required for participation. This net will begin as a directed net and then shift into an open net. There will be an opportunity for stations with equipment to sell to announce their items. Check-ins are requested for purposes of counting participation with no checkout required. Once all stations have checked in, Net Control will ask club board members if they have any announcements, and then we'll call for announcements from any other operators. Please be courteous once the formal part of the net is over and allow breaks for other stations to be a part of the conversation. When checking in, please give your call sign slowly using the standard ITU phonetic alphabet. I'll start by taking check-ins from club board members. Club board members who have not checked in already, please call.
Good evening, Dave. November 0, Echo Mike Papa. Greg in Fort Collins, member at large, no traffic, with Debbie K0DBE.
Good evening, Greg. Got you in there, and good evening, Debbie. Got you in there, too. You also had a station doubling with you. Station that doubled with Greg. Please call again.
That was me, Dave. I guess I didn't turn my power up high enough to squash Greg. Kilo India 0, Kilo November, James in Loveland, and I will have traffic. Thanks.
You got to get that. You got to get up on that big antenna and get some power in there, and Greg would never stand a chance. Thanks for checking in, guys. Any other board members who'd like to check in, please call.
Kilo 0, Bravo, Echo Charlie, Jim, Loveland, Vice President. Traffic.
Good evening, Jim. I think you said no traffic. Is that correct? I'm pretty sure that's what you said. Any other board members who'd like to check in, please call. Hearing none, we'll now move on to general club members. Club members Alpha through Zulu, please call.
Kilo Golf 6, Uniform, Delta Tango, Ed and Bertha, no traffic.
Good evening, Ed. Any other check-ins, please call.
Good evening, Kilo 8, Golf, Echo, Jerry in Fort Collins, no traffic.
Good evening, Jerry. Any other members, please call.
KE0, Oscar X-Ray Victor, Scott in Fort Collins, joining the net tonight.
Good evening, Scott. Thanks for checking in. Any other check-ins, please call.
Guy, 7 p.m. Phil, Cheyenne, AS 7 p.m.
Good evening, Phil. Thanks for checking in. Any other members who'd like to check in, please call. We'll now take check-ins from all stations Alpha through Zulu. Who'd like to check into tonight's net, please call. Hearing none, we'll now move on to net business. James, you had traffic for the net. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks very much, Dave. Sounds like we got a light crowd tonight, but I'll make this quick. I've been dragging us along week by week saying we're going to have all these work parties, and we've just keep waiting for parts to show up. We've had some critical gear on back order for a very long time that has prevented us from doing things. The good news is I talked with the vendor this morning, and we are expected to have it ship probably Friday or Monday, so mid to late next week we should have the last of the crucial pieces in hand, and we will be able to install Buckhorn West. And thanks to Greg and Jim especially, they have been working feverishly here and there on solar panel frames and getting things ready. We will be ready to have a work party go up and install Rattlesnake and get that on the air. So watch for a volunteer notice coming soon. One additional thing has happened. We have got a bit of a wiring problem here at Horsetooth. I say that here because we're on that repeater. Let me reset. And the cleanup and re-racking, rewiring project that I've been wanting to do is taking a front seat now after some of the problems that have been exposed. So also watch for, I'm collecting up the last bits and pieces to redo Horsetooth. I want to take a small crew up there, and we're going to gut the 275115 rack and start over, doing everything very professional, clean, neat install there before the snow flies. Reset one more, and I've got one more piece for everyone. And the last piece of news for the evening, some of you may have noticed on the Buckhorn 447-700 and 146-625 repeaters, at certain times here and there, kind of random times of the day, you may have heard just tons and tons of CW coming out of the repeater. You'll hear UPS/R followed by an OK in CW, and then the call sign again. The issue has been diagnosed and found to be the GPS at the site unlocking and locking and unlocking and locking. We have a permanent outdoor solution with a commercial GPS that we're going to replace all the site GPSs with. They are also in shipment on their way here, so we should have a solution to that. The reason I mention that is not only the CW, but when you hear the club call without the OK, that means the GPS has dropped, and what that means to you is that the Horsetooth voting and Lee Hill voting receivers for Buckhorn are not operational. The GPS has to be operational for those receivers to work. So there are times there when that thing is unlocked, those receivers will not pass audio up there, and some of you folks along the western edge of Loveland and Fort Collins, the audio may not pass. That is something that's imminently going to be replaced. Just be aware of it, especially given that some Skywarn activations have been happening and we use those repeaters. In light, I've got one other piece of information. It was reported to me that in the wind, the Greeley repeater is very noisy, and so we have identified a new antenna for that, and we've also got some new lightning suppression for the network out there. That will be installed very, very soon, and should have that shored up. So that's the project. Let me stop and see if there's any questions before I turn it back to net control.
KL2QO with a question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
For these work parties, will you be sending out an email for when you're ready to schedule one?
Yes, I will be using the volunteers listserv that we have set up with NCARC. So if you are on that, you will receive the email. If you are not on that, you can request to be placed on that. And I'm actually, Dave, do we have an automated process, or is Darren on to let us know, or do we just have to have them send an email to us?
I don't believe there's an automated process. Darren did not check in. I believe the process is to send an email to Darren.
Okay, so if you are on the volunteers list, that is what I will use to ask for volunteer parties and set up the date. If you are not on that list, just contact one of the board members and ask to be added, please, and we'll make sure you're on it right away.
Great, thanks for the info. And KL2QO, back to net.
Question before we wrap up. Okay, hearing none, thanks for the time, and thanks, Dave. KI0KN, back to net.
Thank you, James. Greg and Jim both said that they had no traffic. I have a few pieces for the net. The club picnic is coming up. It is scheduled for Saturday, September 21st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Fossil Creek Park. The address is 5821 LeMay Avenue. The club is going to be providing the drinks and the grilled meats. Bring a side dish to share. The event is going to replace the normal club meeting, so don't go to the Golden Corral in September for that. That is going to be replaced by the picnic. Yeah, and if you've got something to show off or bring it to the event, any questions, send me an email at pao@ncarc.net. Next piece that I have is the contest within a contest. NCARC throws a event where we give the awards to the members who make the most contacts, or there's a scoring. I'm not entirely positive of the scoring system, but it is in the Colorado QSO party. A lot of that's like our time here in Colorado to shine, where everybody is trying to reach out to us. So NCARC also tries to encourage that event by getting awards and having some fun with that event. Questions on that, send a email to Joe at president@ncarc.net. Any questions about either of those announcements, please call. Hearing none. Are there any other questions or comments for the board members we have on the air tonight? Please call. Are there any other stations with announcements for the net tonight? Please call. Hearing none, we've now reached the gear swap portion of the net. Are there any stations that have equipment to sell or stations looking for any pieces of equipment? Please call. This is Whiskey Zero Delta Delta Zulu for the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Weekly Net. Are there any late check-ins, comments, questions, or other discussion before we close the net this evening?
Yeah, Dave, this is Don, KD0GN in Loveland, late check-in.
Good evening, Don. How are you tonight?
I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you. Thanks for checking in. Any other late check-ins or questions for the net, please call.
Hannah, KG5 Echo Collins, late check-in.
N5GRY, late check-in.
Good evening, Hannah. It's KG5 Echo Hotel, correct?
That is correct.
Very good. Sorry, there was a little breakup during that last letter. Welcome to the net. And N5GRY, what was the name, please?
Steve, Johnstown, N5GRY.
Good evening, Steve. Thank you for checking in. Any other check-ins this evening, please call. Hearing none, this concludes the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Net. Thank you, everybody, for your participation. This net will occur again next Wednesday at the same time on this repeater. The repeater is now open for general use. Have a great evening. W0DDZ. This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.